Oh, we're on. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Sleepy Keys Tingle Network today. Today on the program, we have a spectacular collection of statement jewelry pieces. Now, this set includes this gorgeous cameo piece, which I'll get to in a minute. A beautiful set of blue bauble earrings. We have shown these before on the Sleepy Keys Tingle Network, but I think they really make a statement, so I thought that they should be part of this collection today. And first on the program, this amazing gold tone and silver tone statement brooch featuring a fun and whimsical cat. And then another cameo-esque piece here that I'll get to, and this beautiful cameo that's actually just a button cover. And last but not least, this amazing top button cover, which features a beautiful stone in the middle and then silver tone jewelry accents about. Now, before we get started, Barbara, I just wanted to check in, see how you're doing. The asthma's not bothering you with the change of the seasons, you know. And I made sure not to put on too much perfume today, so appreciate your communication there. You just let me know what I can do to make you more comfortable. And then Nancy, wanted to see how you were doing as well, because you did mention a while back that you had the hand cast on, and that seems to be healing. I don't see it on anymore, so I assume, right. So just taking it easy and doing some stretching. Okay. Well, that's good, because we do have some pieces for you to model. I don't think we have any bracelets, so that's good. And then Nancy, does that mean you're not going to do handbell choir again, or? Okay. Right. Okay, Nancy just says she's just going to do puzzles for now. I love a good puzzle. I've got a couple you could borrow. Now, do you do, you know, are you in the $250 range for pieces? Or are you looking for something closer to $500? 1,000. Wow. Yeah, I do have a couple of 1,000 piece puzzles. There's one with some ships in the ocean. Now that one's a little bit challenging because obviously you've got the waves. It's a lot of the same kind of colors and things. And then there's some clouds in the background that were a tricky part there. And then, oh gosh, I have another one that's kind of like a nice garden set. And the flowers in the garden, they are every which way, so it makes it a little bit tricky when putting that one together, because you don't know, is this the gardenias, is that the, you know, chrysanthemum bush over there? So it does help. I'll give you some pointers if you do that one on how to approach it. And then, oh gosh, the hot air balloons. I never even finished that one. It's a bunch of hot air balloons, like that. It's very realistic. You know, it's a picture one, and it's one of those festivals with all the balloons. And what makes it tricky is that, you know, I thought, oh, you just have to do the balloons, and in each individual one you'd be able to figure it out. But all the balloons kind of look the same, even though they're different. And so it's really hard to put together that particular puzzle, because there's so many balloons, all similar shapes. But you know what? You can just have that one. I don't want it back. I don't want to try it again. You want to get that border done first. So you got to find all the edge pieces. And as far as I know, I'm not missing any pieces for any of these puzzles. So it should be a fun time. Yes. Oh, Bruce, you do some puzzles too? Oh, okay. Minesweeper. That's on the computer. You play that one on the computer. Okay. Yeah, that sounds like it could be fun. I've never tried that one, but you can tell me more about it later. Barbara says, moving along. Okay. Now, I'm going to start with, look, I think this is the first cameo that we've had on the Sleepy Keys Tingle Network. Now, of course, we've had some cameo appearances by big stars like Lane Seeless. You know, she was here about a month ago or so. But no, I'm talking about the cameo jewelry here. And this is such a gorgeous piece. Now, I like how we have two cameos in the statement jewelry collection. This particular one, obviously the statement comes partially because of the fact that this is about 1.5 inches long. Now that's a big statement to look at upon a neck. So we've got this beautiful sort of ambery orange tone underneath here, and then a lovely hibiscus flower etched in to this design. Now, Bruce, if I get you to zoom in here. This gorgeous design of the hibiscus flowers with the, gosh, there's almost a change in color, almost a gradation from this deeper amber color into this lighter peach color at the bottom, and then this beautiful off-white peachy color for the hibiscus flower. But I guess there's some hibiscus flowers that are going to be white. I've seen those. I usually see them in a nice purple, maybe a pink color. You have a gold tone locket, which this beautiful cameo is sitting upon. So it's a gold tone locket that goes up into this beautiful gold tone chain. So it's not too long of a chain. This one's honestly pretty short, coming in at about, I think it's a 16, maybe 18 inch. But that way it sits a little bit higher on the neck. And inside here, you can put anything you want. Now, for a cameo like this, you're thinking, oh, well, we'll put pictures of my garden in there because it's got the hibiscus flower on it. No, it could be anything. It could be a picture of, you know, family members, loved ones. It could be a picture of a dog or your cat, or your pet rat, fancy rat, your exotic ferret, of course. It could also be a picture of your car, or maybe if not a picture of your car, when you go to park at one of those big parking lots, maybe you have a little piece of paper and you want to put the parking zone in which you parked. Write that down, then you stick it in the locket so you know where it is, because it might be a small piece of paper, and otherwise you might misplace that if you just put it in your pocket. You could also put in here your gum wrapper, so you get your stick of chewing gum, right? And you're going to need a place to dispose of your chewing gum when you're finished. And that's where this could come in. You're not going to put the gum in here. No. Don't be disrespectful to this beautiful statement necklace. But you could put the little wrapper in here. Save it for later. Open it back up. And then dispose of your gum in a sanitary way so it's inside of the wrapper in which it came from. Then you put it in a proper trash receptacle. Don't go around sticking your gum underneath the tables and chairs or spitting it out on the sidewalk, because obviously that becomes a cleanup issue for someone down the road. What else could you put in here? Okay, Barbara says they make this perfume. You can get your perfume in this sort of waxy form, almost like a hair gel or like a lotion, but it's dense. You could put that in here. And that might smell a little too potent, obviously, for you, Barbara. But that is nice of you to offer that as an option for our viewers. But I don't know, you'll have to look into that, Barbara, because depending on what kind of materials, the chemistry involved, we want to make sure that's not going to ruin any of this gold tone finish. But I'll show you in here. There's lots of room. Gosh, actually, before I do that, look at the detail in here. Look at that. I know it's a hibiscus flower because of this amazing etching detail. So you've got this gorgeous stem. There's a hibiscus that is blooming, but it's not quite there. See? This is the beautiful hibiscus bloom, though. You have the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 petals. Then that little part that comes out. I'm not a biologist. I don't have my plant name references here. And then all these beautiful leaves coming down on the bottom into the stems. But there's so much detail in each one of these. Now, I've seen hibiscus flowers before, and I don't have them in my garden. But they have this texture to them. And that texture is really captured in this carving. Now, inside, let me just see if I can open this, the nails. My nails are making it a little bit difficult. Sometimes you'll have a cameo that has a little door. There's like a little door handle. This kind does not have that, so you do want to stick a nail in there, or like I say, use your tools. You could grab an emery board, or you know, a nail file that comes to a point. Maybe your nail clippers in your purse, or just another piece of jewelry to kind of pry that door open. There we go. There we go. That works. And look at that. You've got, again, just about an inch and a quarter of photographic or note-taking design space in here. Now, in this example, I've put in a couple of my loves. Look, it's a bowl of guacamole, and then some chips, some tortilla chips. So we've got the guacamole and tortilla chips in here. Just something to look at, you know, something that you like. And then sliced radishes. Who doesn't love sliced radishes? They're so versatile, just like this necklace. And sliced radishes make a statement too. And so does guacamole because of its bold flavor. So radishes, guac, that's just one example that you could put in here. But again, I listed off a number of other examples. Put whatever you want inside this beautiful cameo locket. But make sure to call because this is definitely going to sell out. Now I've closed that. You can see this beautiful gold tone finish on the back. This great sturdy mechanism that opens and closes the locket. And then the gold tone chain. So obviously this is on the jewelry display stand. This one's black velvet, so you can see how good this cameo goes with a black velvet number. But I could see it looking really nice with a dress of pretty much any color or style. You could do it sort of with the spring florals, so it's florals with your florals, with a blazer or a nice sort of spring jacket. I don't think this really goes well with just a plain t-shirt or a polo top. You'd want to have this paired with a nice blouse. Either a turtleneck or perhaps something in a V, so it will sit nicely and draw a statement to the neck. So that's just our first item. Moving along here. Oh, we got a caller. already. Great. I can't wait to hear from them. Okay, caller, go ahead.
Hi, this is Bam Pondy. I was just calling to let you know about the Dow Jones. And stocks are actually up. 50,000 even. And, the NASDAQ, I believe, is also up. So I'm calling to tell you about the
Ma'am,
stock
I'm going to have to
market.
cut you off. No. I don't see what that has to do with the statement jewelry or this program. Honestly, you seem confused, and I don't think you meant to call in or know what you're talking about. So I'm gonna have to cut you off, and we'll move on. Okay. Barbara says we actually have another caller. Can you make sure it's not Bam again? Okay. Okay, caller, you're on the air.
Hey, this is Marcy.
Hey, Marcy.
Now, the ancient Sumerians were believed to have been where some of the first cameos originated. They really are little works of art, don't you think? Now, the orange, that's a classic. That orange color, sort of a tangerine.
Right.
I believe you called it amber. That's the carnelian shell. And there's also some blue options. It looks like you've got a piece in there that's a little bit blue. Those are the Agatha cameos. Now, speaking of Agatha, I have a second cousin named Agatha. Now, funny story, Agatha and I, we used to go down to the lake together as kids. And there was this one time, we thought there was a gator out in the lake. And we were kind of concerned, but then turned out it was just a tree stump.
Okay.
But there was some algae that got stuck on it, and the sun was just hitting it just right. And also, we both didn't have our glasses on account of going swimming. Now, her mom and pa said that if she lost her spectacles one more time, she was going to have to buy her own. Anyway, cameos. Now, they were made by carving a relief on a shell or gems or maybe some stones. And that was back in the day. And they became more popular during the Renaissance. But I think folks really started wearing them in the Victorian era. And you know why? Well, Queen Victoria. Now, she liked the silhouette ones. You really have to get a lot of careful precision. You have to have so much skill if you're going to be carving one of those, because it takes a lot of skill to carve it by hand. Now, I wish you had a turtle cameo available, but I guess you'd have to have sort of a green shell or maybe an agate. Some believe that cameos bring good luck, so a good luck turtle cameo would really be ideal. That's all I got for now. Good to talk with you, and I'll be calling back again soon. All right, bye-bye.
That's really fascinating, Marcy. I always appreciate you calling into the Sleepy Keys Tingle Network and providing some insights and historical information into some of the pieces that we're showing. You're such a wealth of information. Moving along. Already by itself, this is such a beautiful piece, but we actually have another cameo, and I think this is sort of like what our friend Marcy was talking about. And Bruce, I'll get you to zoom in here. Look, I'm just going to hold this on my nail. Maybe I'll open it like so. You see this one? It's that blue, the agate style. Now these are just acrylic, and that's what makes this an affordable set today. But you have that beautiful blue color, and then the white, where you've got this beautiful relief sort of painting on the top here for this cameo. Now this one is smaller, but I still believe it makes a pretty big statement, because you've got this lovely sort of Victorian style lady, and instead of the gold and the orange like for the this piece over here, you've got the blue and the white, and then the silver tone. So now you've got cameo color schemes for every occasion. And the silver tone has a lot of detail in it. Lots of little swirlies. It almost looks like a picture frame. And that makes sense because there's a picture of a lady in there. So it's a button cover. This is not a necklace. It's not an earring. It's not a ring. But it could be. That might be nice, actually. It's a button cover. So you know where I put this? It's obviously on a button, Bruce. But I would put it on the top button, on the top of my blouse. And then it sort of sits like a necklace, being on the top button. But also adds almost like a picture of a face to let you know, hey, my face is up there also. So it's faces, it's Victorian. You could do this just as the button cover, and then maybe have some pearl earrings. That would look nice to accent this as well. Or additional silver jewelry. But again, you can mix your metals. I'll say it again. I'll just snap that closed. And we know how these work at this point for me showing them on the Sleepy Keys Tingle Network. You just pop open this back clasp here. This goes over your blouse button, and then securely snap it closed, and it's going to stay put. So, not one, two cameos. Two cameos in this collection. I would have done a cameo collection, but I think we're still waiting on some more to come in. Barbara. No, these are all the cameos we have right now. Okay. Okay, good to know. Put that down over here. From cameo to cats. I gotta show you this. Folks, this might be... I don't want to make big statements and get ahead of myself. Part of me feels like this might be my favorite brooch that we've ever had on the program. And we've had a lot of brooches on the Sleepy Keys Tingle Network. It's fair to say that it's in my top 20 brooches. Top 10? Very likely. Top 5? You can't put me on the spot right now to tell you my top 5 brooches. But I know what's up there is the set of pants and the blouse. It might be number 1. But that's a set, so maybe it counts as number 1 and 2. Right, so looking at this, and maybe I'll show it. Maybe I show it against the black felt. I don't want to get too much glare because it's so reflective and shimmering because it's got this beautiful gold tone and silver tone finish. Okay, that's better. Maybe I'll just connect it on here. The thing about brooches and pens is sometimes when your nails are a little long, it can be tricky. A little tricky. There we go. Now I'm really displaying it in all its glory. What you're looking at here is a whimsical work of art. This is so hip. This is a hip statement brooch because it's so 90s. It's got that sort of Memphis thing going on where you've got the triangle, and the triangle's got zigzags. Then you go down the triangle with zigzags and little holes in it that you can see through. It goes to another triangle. And you've got a celestial theme. I love that celestial theme you kind of see with some of the jewels and design these days. You got the bedrooms with the stars and the moons, a lot of that decor. Very whimsical, very celestial. And this is whimsical, celestial, and cat themed. So at the bottom of this triangle, there's a playful little cat hanging upside down on the bottom of this jewelry piece. And not only is this cat hanging upside down by its paws, it's got its tail wrapped around, this cat's having the time of its life. Look. And you can imagine while wearing it, look at all the movement. Look at how the cat can play on the triangle. You've got the stars shining You've got the moon, mooning, shining. And that's because of the way that this was crafted, handcrafted, where the elements are loose. They've got a lot of area for movement, and not just, pasted onto this brooch piece. What a work of art. Look at that. Now the cat here, you have the detail in the shape of the triangle and some of the cutouts. But the cat, you can see there's cat fur detail etched in. There's a little cat mouth, the cat eyes, the tail that is curled. Look, the tail is connected and it goes up and around the triangle. And you've got such a beautiful balance of silver tone and gold tone in this. And that's what I love, because I love to mix my metal jewels. I don't have to pick. You don't have to pick with this statement piece. You've got silver and gold. So then the other jewelry pieces that you might have on, they could be silver, they could be gold, they could be silver and gold. You're covered because this has both. Now, this piece is almost 2¼ inches. That's 2¼ inches of jewelry that is celestial, whimsical, has a cat, playful, dynamic movement. Makes a little bit of a jingle, but not so loud that it's going to be distracting when you're walking down a quiet hallway. And that's something to consider with your jewelry. Oh, wow. Yeah, I can't think of any reason you wouldn't want this. Maybe if you're more of a dog person, but if that's the case, you get the collection. Then you gift this one to the cat lover and your wife. Done. And they'll love it. They'll be telling all their friends about it. Oh, so-and-so gave me this jewelry piece, because people are going to be asking. They're going to be getting stopped all the time. Obviously at the grocery store, in the bank, the jazzercise. People are going to be asking all the time, where did you get that brooch? Sleepy Keys Tingle Network. Oh, that's if you wear it, but the friend will say, oh, my friend so-and-so. And then you'll be the talk of the town. Moving along. I'm going to take this off here. No, you know what? I'll leave it. No, I'll take it off. Jewels, cameos, and then something you've never seen quite like this. Now, back at Halloween, not this past Halloween, the 2 Halloweens ago, we had a haunted brooch. This one is not haunted. I want to preface by telling you that you don't have to worry about this brooch. As far as I know, no hauntings reported. But the reason I bring that other brooch up is because it had the same sort of silver jewelry tassel. I love a jewelry tassel. Look at the way that moves. So you've got this loose, it's almost like a necklace that's short. It's jewelry chain. It's a bunch of jewelry chain on the bottom of this button cover. And this one is silver toned southwest, or a little bit western. You have an extremely ornate diamond. So it could have been a square. And maybe you could put your button on that way, but then this doesn't hang quite right, as you can see. Put it this way, and it's a diamond. This button cover has a gorgeous, it's almost like mother of pearl, tiger's eye, opal, this amazing stone in the middle. And it could have been a situation where the manufacturer said, oh, I'll just put some glass cabochon in there. And I love a cabochon. But this is really something, because look at that color. Look at the way it sort of changes. Almost like opal. Am I looking at green? Am I looking at blue? I don't know. It changes. But it's a gorgeous, gorgeous stone in the middle. And then around is a sort of plant-like floral, almost like a berry situation, where you've got some leaves and these little details here. And then on the bottom, there are these adorable little rhinestone jewels. They're very subtle. So this is a statement. Obviously, it's a statement. That beautiful stone, the size and shape, the silver fringe. But then you add to that statement with a little bit more sparkle with these rhinestones that are at the bottom. And there's a few at the top as well. So, I don't know that we haven't had anything quite like this on the Sleepy Keys Tingle Network. We had the haunted one. We won't probably be carrying that again. However, the silver tassel here really makes this stand out. And again, just like the cameo button cover, this would really look best in your top button. In order to do that, it does mean that you do need to button your blouse all the way to the top. It might feel like, you know, you could breathe better if you didn't have it buttoned up all the way, but it's going to give it a really polished look to do that. And this one at the top of a blouse, oh gosh, I'm thinking it could be a simple black button-up blouse, long sleeve. Maybe throw a shoulder pad in there. I think that would look really nice. But this would also look good for something a little bit more Western. Your jean items, your chambrays, something with a vest. That would look really good. So, you've got your choices here. Cameo or Southwestern fringe, silver fringe. And it might be a little distracting because while this is quiet, especially in comparison to the, you know, jingle jangle of this brooch, this one you might have a situation where you're wearing it and then, you know, the boss says, all right, I need you to stop because you're constantly playing with the silver fringe. It's too much fun. Too much fun. So very beautiful. Gosh, just look at how it moves. And this looks good with gold too. Not silver tone, but you can again mix those metals if you like. Oh, so I put this in here. Obviously, it's a statement. And it's like a cameo, except not at all because it's a painting. But it's a lady. There's an oval shape. There's a border. Sort of like a cameo. Yeah. But it's also big. And so that's why it's in the statement collection. So this is a button cover as well. This could go on the top. It's very different from the other two, where this one's so serious, whereas this one's a lot more fun. This one's kind of cutesy. But it's a lady. She looks Victorian. She's got an old-timey dress. There's some stuff in her hair. Maybe Renaissance. I can't really tell. You know, I wasn't an art history major. Bruce, you were? I thought you said you went to film school. Minor art history. Anyways, well, zoom in if you would, Bruce, because we need to get a closer look at this. Now, as opposed to this kind of a cameo, it's just sort of a silhouette. You can't really tell what's going on. This is a painting. And this lady looks, I wouldn't say thrilled to be where she is, but maybe because it's an old-timey painting, and you had to sit still for a long time. There's probably no central air conditioning like we have here at the Sleepy Keys Tingle Network. Makes everybody more comfortable. And then this looks like a pretty elaborate hairpiece, so maybe that's weighing down her neck a little bit, so it's a little uncomfortable. And then she's got a fun dress on. The background is green, so we do have a little bit of green in the collection today. And she's looking at an angle, staring off into the distance, looking maybe noble, maybe constipated. We can't be sure. We weren't there. But it doesn't matter. When you have this on as your statement piece, other people can kind of infer maybe what's going on in this, but think, wow, that seems classy. That seems like a fancy piece of art that you're wearing at the top of your collar, so you must also be fancy. And they can think that. Maybe you're not. Maybe you are. No one will know. But if you're wearing this, you'll be looking fancy. Look, last but not least, again, I mentioned we had these before. These are post-style earrings. These are not for your pierced ears folks out there. So, and you could get these if you don't have your ears pierced, or you could get them and gift them to someone who does have their ears not pierced. Either way, how magical is this? It's really interesting. And then Bruce, if I could get you to zoom in, these are almost like two different color sort of balls, marbles, but it's not a glass cabochon. It is like a glass jewelry bead, but there are all these facets in it, so it kind of makes it look like a fine gem or almost sapphire-esque. But I kind of love that they're not exactly the same color. Now you might be thinking, why do I don't want to buy these from the Sleepy Keys Tingle Network if they're two different colors. What's going on with your quality control there? I don't understand. It doesn't matter. No one's going to know because these are going to be on either side of your head. No one's going to be looking at them side by side because there's one ear here, one ear over here. So don't worry too much about that. Slight variation in these earrings is expected, okay? So don't want to have a bunch of calls coming in about haunted brooches or slight variations in gem colors. Anyways, you can see how these make a statement though, and it's not because they're slightly different, but because they're a large sort of bauble. It almost looks like a sapphire, but it's also not cut like a gem. It's just a circle. And then it sits inside this lovely, ornate sort of holder that has little flower details, and then a line, and then another flower, and then a line. I would love a chandelier like this. That's for sure. The color and this gold tone ornate detail. And all you have to do to put them on, you unscrew this mechanism in the back here, and then gently tighten it, not too tight, but not too loose so they don't fall out of the ear, and then they'll be securely fastened on the earlobe. So, beautiful options here. All right, and so we have our slight variation earrings. This really classy cameo. Folks, this is probably a showstopper we're going to have on the Sleepy Keys Tingle Network again. And don't forget, you can put whatever you want in there. It doesn't have to be guacamole and chips or sliced radishes. And then this whimsical cat brooch. How about that? So much detail, so celestial, so 90s. Put that right here. And gosh, I love this. This amazing Southwest button cover with the beautiful stone in the middle, and then rhinestones, detail in this diamond, and my new favorite thing, silver tassels. There's a bunch of silver tassels there. And, oops. Last but not least, this classy Renaissance painting, sort of a cameo lady, or maybe it's Victorian. Oh, I don't know. I'm not sure. Either way, very classy. It's wearing like a little piece of art on your clothes. And that's what really all jewelry is when you think about it. And then the, oh gosh, Agatha, what did she say it was? What did Marcy say? Agatha style, the blue and the white button cover that's also a little miniature cameo. This collection's out of this world, but it's not out of your price range because you can get this entire collection from the Sleepy Keys Tingle Network today for the low price of $99.99. That's under $100. Can you believe it? I can't. But it won't last, especially because of this beautiful piece here. So do give us a call today, the Sleepy Keys Tingle Network, for the spectacular, sophisticated, stunning statement jewelry collection today. All right. We hope to hear from you.